asking me how's it hanging, how's it happen? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast, what some magazine describes as the one that initiates profound discussions with rock and metal artists, allowing fans to cover the creative workflow of other favorite musicians, and understand the factors to make the band succeed or fall from fame. We are also sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom computing needs. Get $100 off your entire code CVPod at darkfusionsystems.com. Show the podcast below. Now time for our feature presentation. We're going hardcore on this one. We got Ringo from Mugshot in the podcast. Hey, their brand new album, All the Devils Are Here, comes out on June 20th. Their first full album since 2016's Dull Boy. We talk about the time in between, the writing style for this, how these songs came together to make a good song great, a great song stellar, and one hell of a great album. And we have some fun talking about why Mugshot might be playing a bunch of smaller towns around the U.S. and how it could lead to a gold mine of success. You guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast, you know heavy-ass music is really, really starting to pop off like crazy in so many different facets. And this band right here, okay, let's be honest with you. They're damn good, and we've been waiting for some great new music. And now we got a brand new one coming out on June 20th of 2025. Their first album since 2016. And if you haven't heard them yet, now's the time to get to know them and then go and listen to them if the album is not out yet. But if the album's up by the time you hear this, go and listen to the whole entire thing once this episode is over, because it is an absolute banger of an album. With the brand new album, All the Devils Are Here, coming out on June 20th. Please welcome Ringo from the band Mugshot to the podcast. So Ringo, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on, man. How is everything going in your world as we're inching closer and closer to the release date of the new album?
Good, yeah. A lot of mix of emotions right now. A little bit anxious, mostly stoked. I think with the singles dropping and seeing the reaction to those and stuff, it's definitely gotten eased a lot of those nerves.
It's like the excitement is there, and then the anxiousness was like at the same level, but now with the singles out, it's like that excitement has risen, the anxiousness is lowered. Of course, there's still plenty of songs still left to go, but when you get to see the initial reaction from people just in getting a taste of it, you get a sense of, okay, this is how this sound in this album is going to be received, and if this is the way the singles are, oh boy, just get ready for the full thing.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's been it's been a ride for sure. I think a lot of the excitement comes from us being able to play a lot of the new songs live. We played a couple tracks that were unreleased at the time. The reaction was mostly great. And now that those singles are coming out, we've been incorporating more and more of them into our live set, and the reactions have been nothing but good. So that has definitely brought the excitement level up more.
That's always one thing I love to see from artists, and also see them use as a barometer for how these songs are going to do, is being able to pull them out in the live setting. You're able to try them out in front of an active audience that is going to react immediately one way or the other, whether it's for the uber positive or, and maybe this one just ain't it this time. And of course, every artist has songs that are like that. But when you get to see it in the live setting, especially as a fan, then you're kind of waiting for that song to be released, and you're waiting for that song to come out so you can really enjoy it, get behind it, and just rip it to shreds once release day happens. Like, I could see if you incorporate a good number of these songs into your set already before June 20th, there's got to be fans that are just clamoring and clawing for this release day to come out, for this release to potentially come out. Come on, can you give it to us like a couple days early? Because I can't wait no more.
Yeah, that was a big one. On the tour that we did with Cane Hill a few months ago, we played a couple songs that were not released yet. One of those songs has since been released, Next to Your Idols, that just came out a couple weeks ago. And almost every night when we played that song, we've had people be like, "What song is that?" Like, we're like, "It's not out yet," but keep your eyes peeled for it.
That's, again, something you have to do, and I still remember that Cane Hill tour. Unfortunately, I think I went to a different show the night you guys played around where I was supposed to see that show. I think it was maybe like late February. You guys were in Chicago. I was here to show in Milwaukee. But I had friends that were down there, and the other day I was at one of the Oceano farewell shows, and they were asking me who I was bringing on the show. I'm like, I got Mugshot coming on, and two guys instantly looked at me. They're like, "Oh, that band?" I'm like, "Yeah, is that a bad thing or a good thing?" Dude, how's the album? We heard some unreleased stuff like during their live set, and I've been waiting to hear how this thing is. How is it? And I just smiled at them. Yeah. I'm like, you're going to be ready for this. Like, it's going to be fun.
Hell yeah. I love to hear that.
Hey man, I got to go through it. I got the treat of being able to go through it like a month early, and it's something where I've got this playlist on my old ass iPod still because I love listening in the gym. Then no one contacts me. I don't get any weird notifications, no calls, no text messages, nothing. And I just have a playlist of just hardcore music just to go nuts to. Immediately after, I'm like, do I have the download for this? Immediately put it on that whole entire playlist, the whole album, because it's like, it just fits every step of the way. And god damn, dude, this was great.
Fuck yeah. Yo, thank you. I really appreciate that.
And I would like to dive into a little bit more. Of course, this is going to be your first album since Doughboy released in 2016. Now, that's a 9-year gap we're talking between albums. So let me hear from you specifically. What took so long to go from album number 1 to album number 2?
One thing, lineup changes for sure. I wasn't in the band when Doughboy was released. And same with our bassist Ciro. He wasn't in the band either. So lineup changes, definitely. Another big thing is just writing it's difficult. We have a set list of songs that we play, and the reactions are good, and we love playing those songs, and it's hard to be like, all right, let's write some more. But yeah, writing it was difficult for a while because we all live in different cities. And so it's hard for us to like take the time to get together to write. So it's mostly just like Michael, our guitarist, will write a riff or something, send it to our drummer will write some stuff, I'll write lyrics over it. And it's difficult to like all be locked in when we're all like, we're not all on the same page at the same time. So us being able to travel out to New Jersey to record with Randy, and all of us being in the same room together for I think it was like 3 to 4 weeks or something like that, literally in the middle of nowhere, so we had nowhere else to go, gave us that opportunity to like really lock in and like write this record like as a unit. So yeah, I think the wait has definitely been a long one, but I think it's well worth it.
It makes sense when the wait's a long one too, especially when a band, and again, like you said, you weren't around when Doughboy was initially released, so having different members come in and out of the band, and when it comes to writing, there's a lot that goes on there. If you have one person doing most of the writing, then it kind of takes a little bit away from it, but if you guys are all wanting to be in the same room together to do something like this, as members end up coming and going, it takes time to end up, gelling with one another, getting the chemistry down between one another, so you know exactly how you're supposed to do this and get the feel for how you're going to write best. And especially if it's going to be in person compared to doing it, pandemic style where it's file sharing here and there. If you're going to write the best in person, that's what you're going to want to go for. But if you're all scattered across the country, trying to get together is not going to be the easiest thing. So, of course, that wait time is going to be longer. But I would always say this. We would rather, as fans, have that wait time be longer and get the best music from you guys that you feel like you can produce, instead of just getting stuff consistently like every 1, 2, 3 years. But it's just like, essentially thrown together based on the circumstances that you have. If you're putting the time and effort in there, then the fans are going to end up responding in kind by coming out when they get the release of the album, when they get a taste of it, and when they get a chance to come and hear some of these songs live and potentially throw each other the fuck around.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like I said, like we'd released a couple singles, an EP, just kind of in the meantime. We had done an EP called Cold Will that not a lot of people are starting to discover it. I'm like, where have y'all been? Which I think it's a great EP. But it's just taking the time to write a full length album and really like establish like the era that we are in. Like, I think that's well worth the wait, and it's a lot more special that way.
It is, and it's even like tougher too, especially in the time that we live in. Of course, it's 2025. We know the economy is definitely not nearly as good, so we know a lot of artists don't have the luxury of just being able to have their artistry, having their art, their music be the thing that pays the bills and gets them through life. We know a lot of artists that have been on the podcast that have had 1, 2, sometimes even 3 other jobs outside of that. And when you want to make the best possible music you can and put your all into it, it can be tough when you have other responsibilities in the mix. So then again, it adds to the wait period of all of this. And there are some albums, like you said, the EPs and the singles. If there are people that are just discovering it for the first time now, it kind of is a cool piece to add to it because it feels like you're getting something new as a fan that you maybe didn't even know that was there. And then you're already clamoring for more, and boom, now there's a full album that's going to encapsulate this era of Mugshot, which comes out right in the beginning of summer. And people are going to be just feeling it, flowing with it. And the more you guys go out and play some of this stuff live, the more and more people are going to show up, the more and more people are going to get behind it, and the more and more happy aggression we're going to have to be able to let out during those shows.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the timing for this release couldn't be more perfect because it comes out 5 days later. We're out for a month with Orthodox, From Joy, and Omerta, which is like a fucking unbelievable lineup. So yeah, people are going to be able to experience a lot of those songs live right after it comes out, which I think is very fucking cool.
Oh, that's absolutely incredible. There's going to be a lot of people that want to dive into that, especially knowing that you guys are going to be out on tour right after the album drops. But that's not the only thing I think of why this is a great time to release it, is just given the way that heavy music, especially more of the hardcore stuff, is being seen over the past, let's say, year and a half, where you've seen bands like Alpha Wolf, you've seen Throne, you've seen Kublai Khan release albums that have gotten a lot of positives behind it. Of course, the big one being Knocked Loose, with the fact that they went from a band where the first time I saw them was maybe in like a capacity room of maybe you could put 1,000 in there and that was it, to now they're going to be playing these massive headlining shows. They're going out and opening for Metallica in Europe in 2026.
Unreal.
Whoever thought a hardcore band would have done that?
Could not be more stoked for them. That's like everyone who has ever picked up a guitar, that's like their dream. And to see like this band that is from such a like small town area, and they've just been consistent, not even like consistently heavy, they've been like consistently getting heavier and heavier and heavier, just being more and more like aggressive and more just, I don't know, like seeing bands like that get to the point where they're fucking touring with like Metallica is like unbelievable. It's like, it could not be more stoked.
Oh, absolutely. And where I'm going with it is just like there is an absolute taste and want and desire for this type of aggressive music to go to be able to latch onto. And again, we just said what with Knocked Loose, Throne, they did their first headlining set or headliner in the US in like February and March of 2025. Kublai Khan's able to go out on their own and fill rooms of over 1,000 with ease. I saw Alpha Wolf do it, and they're going to be on the Summer Aloud tour. Counterparts is going out and doing some bigger shows as well. So this is a consistent thing that keeps happening, where if you're going to be playing this heavier hardcore style, and you're going to be bringing out with authenticity, but also that aggression that has become, I'm not going to say popular, but it's just people have an appetite for it right now. Releasing All the Devils Are Here in June of 2025, there's so much positivity going around where you guys are just going to end up latching onto that. And what I hope is being latched onto it and just keep shooting to the moon with it.
Yeah, that's fingers crossed,
Fingers crossed, and maybe all of a sudden we can get like a tour where it's like, Knocked Loose, Kublai Khan, Alpha Wolf, you guys, Drain, Counterparts, probably missing a couple in there too, but could just be absolute mayhem for a night in whatever city you guys go to.
Yeah, that would be fucking awesome.
One can hope, sir. One can hope. And I mean, we already talked about like how long it took you guys to really put this album together, especially from the last one, the other things you had going on. But when it came to writing in person, when it came to putting All the Devils Are Here together, especially from the writing style, how did that all come into play with what is the final product that we have here?
Yeah, we went into the studio with Randy, who has worked on so many good albums. He works with Kublai Khan, Gideon, Chamber, Orthodox, tons of good bands, Jesus Piece. And so we went in with some riffs and some like song ideas, nothing like fully complete. And just having someone who has worked on so many of like our favorite records there with us, like helping us write some of these songs, whether it's like structuring the lyrics in a way that's more energetic for a live show, or structuring riffs differently so it's not super like overly repetitive and stuff. Like having someone like that with us helped so much, and like I'm so grateful that we like had the opportunity to work with him, because like there's things that like we would write and all of us would be like, that's fucking awesome, like hell yeah, and he'd be like, yeah, but what if we did it like this, and now it's like the coolest part of the song. And so just having someone like him in the room with us, like actively like listening and like knowing what we're trying to achieve, like help the writing process so much. I'm so grateful for him.
No, I know you guys worked with Randy for that stuff, especially when you listed all those other artists that he's worked with too. And again, it's not to capture the same style those artists did, but you found someone when it comes to a producer for your guys' music that has seen a number of these things and can potentially pick out pieces of being able to take a good song into a great song and taking a great song into one of the best that you're ever going to create. There's just that knowledge that is there. But the other part of it too is when you're writing this stuff and you have this moment of, we all think this is absolutely fantastic and he has this idea of how to make it potentially better. You have the trust in him to be able to do something like that. And then you get those pieces to come out where maybe there's something on this one song where it sounds great, but you add this one thing in there that he's thinking about. And that song goes from great to that piece becomes that memorable piece that when people listen through Mugshot or hear Mugshot, they're going to think of that song and that piece that's in there as just that quick little hit of, oh, I know what band you're talking about. If you're at a festival, it's like, I know what band you're talking about. What time do they play?
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, and it's like it's really cool like just seeing like having that kind of like outside perspective on like our music, cuz like obviously we all know what sound we are. We know what we're trying to achieve, but having someone who's worked with so many good bands and knows like how to really take a song to the next level, like be there in the room with us. Like for example, on our song "A For Awakened Nightmare," we have this one section that we had originally written to be played one way, and he was like, "This is cool. What if we run it through this pedal? It's the same riff, it's just ran through this different pedal, and now it's like such a cool, unique, like hard hitting part of the song." And being able to like play that song live and just seeing like the reaction to like the weird noises that we got going on during that section is like so fucking cool. And it's like things like that like we wouldn't have thought of that, but he did, and so that song is now like up there.
And it was one of the singles too, and I totally understand why. And when it comes to the idea to, hey, what if you use this pedal just to run it through? The part of the song you're talking about, I even have it, like I went through every single song. I always write down my thoughts on it. And with that piece, it's like once you hear that guitar tone and that distortion just change up, it's like that you hear that higher pitch crank or scratch. And it just helps the song out so much more because in the last third, when you get to and you get that heavier beatdown feel, it is a great transition piece that just takes it in more of a contrasting tone, but this very comparable intensity. So it makes it not seem like, okay, you were going through the song, it's the same thing over and over again. Before you get to the heavy part of the end, it's like, whoa, where did this come in? Now I'm fully invested in this. So when that heaviness hits, it's a completely different feel and sound, but the energy is continually there. That was something especially for this song, and I can always go on and expand on a lot further, where there are always pieces of your songs on this album where every time I thought the song was good going to great, those pieces made sure that they went from good to great or from great to fantastic.
Fuck yeah. That's so good to hear from like an outside perspective. Like that's exactly what we like wanted to achieve.
Yeah, and you guys achieved it on, I want to say, every single song on this album, because going through it, especially after I got through, I think it was once I got through, again, I went through everything in order, Shame and then Veil of Tears, I noticed I was picking out like these spots in the songs where everything changed up just a slight bit, but it made the biggest change to the song for the positive that ended up influencing the rest of it and got me more invested in it. And I kept going down. I'm like, okay, is it going to happen in the next one? Is it going to happen in the next one? And every single time it happened, but the key is it always happened with something different. It was never the same thing twice.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So whatever you guys did on this to make this album what it is, again, working with Randy or just being able to be open to those ideas or creating the great skeletal system and bones that were these songs and just need that one little like decorative piece on there to change it up and just make it as great as possible. You guys hit it on every single one of these, which was insane.
Fuck yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Well, how about I ask you this? I usually ask this a little bit later in the episodes. I'm going to ask you this a little bit earlier. So, at time recording this, I believe there are 4 singles out: Die in Fear, A For Waking Nightmare, Veil of Tears, and Next to Your Idol. So that's, of course, 4 of 12 that are out that people, of course, can listen to. At time recording, there are 8 that are not out yet. I'm not going to ask you for your favorite song because let's not do that. That's like picking a favorite child. I'm not going to ask you to pick your favorite piece of art, piece of creation, but I'll ask you this. When release day hits, or how about this? When you go on tour right after the release, which is the song you are most excited for fans to either see live or just hear, and why?
I think I Will Be Here Forever is definitely like, it's so different from like anything that we've put out. It's so intense, has such a like high energy to it. And I'm really excited. We are playing that one live.
Yes.
I'm really excited for people to hear that one because it's like, it's very different. Has more of like a bouncy kind of feel to it, but just it's so aggressive, so riffy, and I'm really stoked for people to like hear that one. And I'm interested to see the reactions to it because of how different it is. Kind of in the same way, like when Next to Your Idols came out, I was very interested to see how people would react because it's different, kind of on the opposite end, where it's a lot like slower and heavier than anything else that we've released. It's a lot like darker. And seeing how positive the reaction is to that song live and on record and stuff, I'm very excited to see how people feel about I Will Be Here Forever, like in the same way.
What I was happy about is the fact that I went through the whole entire album and didn't get to listen to the singles really beforehand or really give them the time because I want to go through the whole album as it stood. And of course, we got Next to Your Idols at the end. It did stand out as like the slower song amongst the entire core that is the album. So it did have that piece of this is different. This does stand out. But of course, right when you picked I Will Be Here Forever, I'm like, okay, let me scroll down. Let me see what I had to say about this. Because you're right, it does have more of that bouncy feel to it. But if you're still anxious or curious how people are going to take to it, if I wrapped it up in my first 5 words I wrote were overall, these guys can't miss, I'm pretty sure it's going to go over well.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I think another track that I'm very interested to see how people react to is Flesh of My Body. Um it was such a strange decision to put out a song that's like 50 seconds long halfway through the album. But I think that song is just so fucking cool. And the way like we recorded it and stuff, which I'm sure we'll be posting some like behind the scenes stuff of us making that song when that song drops. It's just, that song sounds like the end of the world. It's so cool to me.
What I was really concerned with, like Flesh for My Body, was the same thing. Is, you know, I'm going through the album, I'm halfway through. I get through, of course, what we just said, I'll Be Here Forever. And I'm like, I just got through probably the longest or the second longest song on the album. And now all of a sudden I'm halfway through. I'm at the halfway point. Now I'm getting to the shortest one. I was wondering, is this going to be like an interlude or a transition period? Is this going to be something different? And it kind of felt like an extended 1/4 to me, especially, of what I Will Be Here Forever was. And now I'm talking about encapsulating the whole song. I'm talking after the last third that uses distortion and it begins to create that like heavier beatdown feel. It continues to make you mentally angry, descending into madness feel. Once you get to Flesh in My Body, it just adds this primal, of course, bounce on the popping toms to it. And then a breakdown, melodic beatdown nature, those intense scratch over the top. I'm like, on its own, it kind of feels a little bit of a weird piece of the song. But if you put it directly right after I'll Be Here Forever, it sounds like the extended version of it that you absolutely wanted every step of the way. So pairing those 2 songs together on the track list was the perfect move.
Fuck yeah. I'm glad that you feel that way. Because that's like, That's pretty much exactly how I feel about it for sure. I don't think Flesh of My Body is like supposed to be its like own single kind of song. It's supposed to be paired in that way. And so I'm glad that that's like something that you've observed.
The other big thing I liked about it too is usually when you see songs like that in the middle of a track or a middle of a album run through, they always end up being like the interlude to lead into the next song. This, it didn't necessarily fully lead into the next song. It kind of closed out the previous song a lot stronger, which I did like. Don't get me wrong, it does lead into Baptized into Concrete pretty well. But if you add it to the end of I'll Be Here Forever, ooh, now you're really talking.
Fuck yeah.
Say because if you're going to be playing these songs live, my God, is this going to be just something where you may end up being the ones that steal the show in the end?
Oh well, I hope so. Yeah.
You never know. It'll be like that. It'll be like, okay, end of the show comes and just like, okay, we're going to make this competition. Whose merch line is longer? And it's going to consistently be like mugshot, 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 mugshot. You guys are going to end up winning like, I don't know if there's a competition for it amongst artists, but there should be like a golden Buc-ees statue that someone gets awarded at after every tour as like had the like consistently won the merch table winner for the night.
Yeah, the golden Buc-ee. I'll pitch that. I'll pitch that idea.
That would, I'm pretty sure I'm just start pitching that to other people too. I'm like, just think of something really random, but I'm like, it's Buc-ees and it's, artists on the road. It just makes sense. Plus, if there was a golden Buc-ee award that was going around on every tour, you never know. Buc-ees might finally sponsor one of these things.
Oh, I could only hope so. Buc-ees needs to recognize all of the bands who would give their life for that gas station.
I've only ever been to, I think, the Buc-ees once, and that was it. And I'm like, okay, I understand the hype now because you just walk in there and there's so much that's there. I mean, if they sponsored one of your tours, I mean, what is that? What's the perk of that? Is it like clean bathrooms and brisket sandwiches for your entire run?
Hey, that's all we need. We need the beaver nuggets.
Give me and the Buc-ee nugs.
Industrial bag of that.
On a daily basis, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, hopefully, because I think it's actually, because I know they're expanding Buc-ees, and where I live, there was a town vote, like in a suburb of Milwaukee, maybe about 20 minutes south of where I live, that a Buc-ees was going to go in there, but some of the neighbors were like, oh, no, they didn't do this right. They're not thinking of us. I'm like, you're in the middle of an open field. There's been nothing there ever since I was a kid. And they want to put a Buc-ees there, and it finally got approved. So I'm like, in 2 years, everyone's going to want to come to Milwaukee because we got a Buc-ees in the area.
Hell yeah.
It's going to make Milwaukee Metal Fest a lot more of a thing to go to because eventually you're going to stop at Buc-ees on your way there, on your way out. You only got one option.
Yeah, we just played Rockville, and right after Rockville, we saw that there was a Buc-ees like right down the street from it. And I was like, thank fucking God. And of course, the Buc-ees was packed full of people wearing the Rockville wristbands and like band merch and stuff like that. So yeah, like put a Buc-ees near every major area.
Absolutely, and every major festival too, because I know they have the one in Daytona that's right next to, like, really close to the track. It's like they got to get one now in Columbus, Ohio. I'm just outside of Louisville for Louder Than Life. Get one outside of Mansfield for Incarceration. Someone out to Sacramento for Aftershock. Just wherever these going to be, these major festivals, wherever bands are consistently going, put a Buc-ees around there. Yes, you're still going to get all the traffic from so many other people, but you will become you're already the gas station to gas stations, and there's only, there's not even 100 locations of them. But the more locations there are, people are going to be happy.
It's funny because the first time I ever went to Buc-ees, I think the experience was more special because no one in my band at the time had any idea what that even was. We were driving somewhere through Texas, and it was like our second tour ever. And we just saw this gas station that had like 100 pumps to it. And we were like, what the fuck is that? And one of my bandmates was like, let's fucking go. Let's go to this gas station. And we pulled in there and we were like, this is fucking crazy. Like, the amount of merch that they had for this gas station, they have like the dude in the beaver costume, like everything there had the little logo on it. We were like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is crazy. And we get to the show, and one of the members of one of the bands playing, we were like, yeah, we went to this gas station that was fucking huge, and it was like whatever. And they're like, yeah, you're talking about Buc-ee's? And I was like, yeah, you know about it? And he's like, yeah, no shit, we know about it. And I was like, damn, I thought we like discovered something.
Unfortunately, you didn't discover something, but you finally unlocked the greatest gas station of all time. Because I still remember the first time I went there was actually on the way down to Rockville for 2022. And I'm like, I got myself a brisket sandwich, of course. But I'm like, I gotta get some things. Well, I realized that I forgot my sleeping bag, even though it was gonna be super hot. I'm like, I need a blanket, so I got a Buc-ee's throw blanket with just the Beaver logo on it. And then I got a beach towel because I was gonna give it to my little cousin. And it just said I had a heart on it, and then it had the Beaver logo. So I'm like, oh, I heart Beaver. That's hysterical. Well, the blanket is gone now. I believe it's currently somewhere in Buenos Aires, Argentina. But the towel I still have because I'm like, I can't get rid of that thing. That thing is hysterical. So if I ever go anywhere where I'm required to bring a towel, it's like I got to bring the Beaver towel. But at least everyone knows I love Buc-ee's.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, of course, on this album, I mean, we've talked about a number of songs. Are there any other songs that have yet to be released that are standouts for you that just are like, okay, this was something that either was really difficult to write or this was the most fun thing to write and I'm really anticipating on performing this? Again, ones that we haven't talked about yet.
There is one section in the song Where Your Sins Will Lie that we recorded and all of us were just like, that's fucking awesome. And when that song comes out, they will know the section. It's so like, I don't know. I just the back and forth between me and Michael vocally and stuff. I think is so fucking cool. And I'm stoked for people to hear that part.
Oh, I'm just like, I had to pull my notes on that too. I'm like, I'm looking, where was I sitting on that one? And I said oh shit, we have another one of those. I'm like, this potentially could get sailed. And there was some small transitional idea that changes up the entire thing. Yeah. And I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm going to keep it more ambiguous because I want people to listen to it because when you hear it, you will instantly know what's happening. And then it gives the song this incredible breath of new life. And I'm not going to say what it is, but oh my God, you're just going to have to be ready for this one, guys and girls, and anybody else that's listening. You just have to be ready for this.
Yes.
So shit. I mean, there's so many great songs here. And the crazy thing is you get through the album and you're like, I want more. But it was only like 20 some minutes or like even 20 minutes. Like, what the hell, guys? But that's the beauty of it. People are just going to want more. They're going to be clamoring for more. But the first thing we're going to want is we're going to want to see that live. And on that Orthodox run, we're going to get a chance to see, I hope, a good amount of these songs live as well.
A lot of them for sure.
So how can you tell us how long your set's going to be potentially for that tour? Or has that information been given to you at this time?
I don't exactly know. We're still kind of working out the kinks of the live set for that one, but it's going to be pretty decently long. I want to say we're shooting for around 11 to 12 songs. Ooh. Which I mean, of course, a lot of our songs are like sub 2 minutes. Some of them are less than a minute. So, you know, whatever. Die in Fear and A For Awakened Nightmare, like that counts as one song. But yeah, so it's we're playing a decent amount of stuff. We're playing mostly stuff from the new record. We're playing some Empty Heaven stuff. We are not playing anything from Doughboy. I am so sorry to everyone that's going to ask. And we're debating on what we should play from the Coldwell record. But yeah, we're playing a pretty good amount of the new stuff.
So you don't have to play anything from Doughboy. That record's 9 years old. I mean, you got a whole brand new record coming out, and you've got other EPs that are out there as well. Like, let's focus in on that stuff and really get these people going with it. Plus, of course, there's going to be some people that are going to be disappointed that there's going to be no Doughboy on there. But after they listen to this album, not only I think are A, they're going to understand why there isn't, but B, they're going to be more than happy that there isn't anything from Doughboy on this live set due to the fact that they're going to want to hear this stuff live and see exactly how you pull some of this off, especially with those. Every single song, like I said, has that transition piece that takes the song from either good to great or great to extraordinary. There's no in between. It never goes backwards. It never makes it just, oh yeah, it's okay. But I'm curious to see exactly how you're going to put this set together to make sure that this is going to be something where in the end, you win the golden Buc-ee every single night by having more people at your merch table than any other band that's on that bill.
Yeah, I think I definitely think we're working on this set in terms of like how we present it more than we normally do. Usually, we're mindful of where songs are in the set. But I think this time around we're like really like we're making sure that when you walk away from that set, you're like, holy fuck. Like that's what we want.
Well, how are you doing this then by making sure that people sit back and be like, holy fuck, after they hear this? Again, I'm just trying to see like when you guys are putting together a set list, especially with these new songs. And I'm not asking to get the set list, but I'm asking is when it comes to putting together, how are you doing this mindfully to make sure that those pieces all come together?
I think one thing is transitions. We never want it to feel like, okay, we played this song. Let's go to the next song. Let's go to the next song. We want it to be like we just played 3 to 4 songs and it felt like one long like ballad. And like that way the energy never stops. The it keeps coming. We never want there to be like a break. Like we like to kind of put it in chunks. So like 3 or 4 songs in, it's just like all gas. People like you don't have to worry about like, okay, I'm gonna start moshing and then it's silent. Like we want that. And then when there are breaks, everyone has a time like moment to like catch their breath and stuff. But yeah, we're putting this set together to be special for sure.
Well, as you were saying that, my thought process was I got to take a look at this tour run. I got to take a look at these locations, and hopefully there is not only something that I can go to, whether it's Chicago or close to Milwaukee or something like that, but at least hopefully it's a day that is available, because you're talking about this. I've heard this album and I want to be able to just go absolutely ape crazy this. I'm looking at the schedule and all I can do is sit here and smile, my friend, because there is a date on there. I'm like, oh my God, that venue has no barricade. On the walls it says dance at your own risk. And it's on a day that I have available. Oh my God, we're hitting this.
Listen, my philosophy has always been, even if there is a barricade, pretend there isn't. Go over it. Get over that barricade, get on the stage, jump off. You can clear it. I hate barricades and I just pretend they aren't there.
All right, then I'm making a call out to not only all the listeners here, but also to my dear, dear friends who I go see all these shows with. On July 11th, we are going to all show up at X-Ray Arcade in just south of Milwaukee in a little town called Cudahy. Yeah, it's just a suburb of Milwaukee. Don't worry. We all know where it is. I was just there for Oceano's final run, and we are going to be there. We'll make sure we're there for when Mugshot goes on, and we really have to take the wall saying dance at your own risk to the extreme. Beyond that, though, we have to take what you just said to the extreme too, and that there is no barricade, and never worry that there is. Get up on stage, jump off, do something crazy. Hell, you never know. We might do what we did for Knock Loose a couple of years ago and just bring a bunch of inflatables into the pit and just start whacking people with inflatable hammers and swords and shit.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, so if all of a sudden you guys start going on stage and all of a sudden you just see the most ridiculous, why are there so many inflatables here? Oh, I know what happened. And if you see for some random reason someone run in with an inflatable mechanical bull, just know that I have had that in my basement for 6 years and I have no reason I've never had any reason to pull it out yet, but this might be it.
Fuck yeah.
Now, to get people to hold it up while someone's on the mechanical bull, that could be very dangerous. But hey, the walls say dance at your own risk. I mean, what else can I do?
Exactly, yeah.
And then I get to see this album live. Oh dear God, this is just going to be great. This I was like, I was already having a good day. This just keeps making my day even better.
Fuck yeah. Love to hear it.
That's perfect. Well, of course, again, we got the tour coming up in summer. We got the album, of course, coming out right at the end of June. But going beyond that, though, what else is on the docket for Mugshot? Are there any other big plans in the future that you guys have been working on?
We have Louder Than Life Fest in September, which that's going to be fucking awesome. Um, as far as like other tours and stuff, it's we have a lot of stuff in the works,
Mhm.
mostly stuff that I can't talk about. But we will be in your city. Like no matter where you are, if you're in a small town or something, like we're gonna find a way to go there. And if anyone listening to this lives in a small town where you're like, no one ever comes through here, like I never get to see the bands I want to see, DM us on Instagram. Tell us what city you're in because we always want to make that work. We have so much love for like the small towns that don't get a lot of shows and stuff. And every time we play a town like that, it's like the craziest shit that we've ever,
Mhm.
like we just, it's not a super small town, but we just played Augusta, Georgia for the first time. Um, that show was fucking awesome. It was like constant stage diving. Uh, Everyone there had like a mutual understanding of what was going on. So if there were people there that weren't fully aware of like the hardcore dancing that goes on at shows and whatever, uh, it would happen. They would be like, "Holy shit!" and then it would end, and then they'd jump off the stage. And it wasn't weird or anything like that. It was just like everyone was stoked to be at a show, and that's we love playing the smaller areas and stuff like that because it's more special. So like I said, if you're in one of those towns that no one ever comes through, send us a DM or something and tell us where it is and we'll figure it out.
That is something that I think stands out even more so, especially seeing some of the things that have been recently happening in the music scene. I'll use the All American Rejects as an example. They're
Oh
just going
yeah.
out and playing these random places that people are asking them to. And it's just become one of these things that's absolutely intense and insane. And people are getting more into the band now, back like they were in 2006, 2007. If you guys end up taking this full force and say, hey, if your town doesn't get a lot of these shows, DM Mugshot. Mugshot will try and make it out there and come and play. You guys could do a run of just the most random little spaces, headline it even, go and do the most random little places all across the country and just create some of the most insane wrecking havoc shows possible. And before you know it, it'll be something where now every single large venue is going to want to become a part of this because they see how people are taking a mugshot. This
Yeah.
could be one of the biggest moments of something that could happen in your guys' career if you just go and just say for a tour maybe later in 2025 or 2026, screw it, we're going to go on our own and we're just going to do like 20, 25 dates in these really small towns that don't get a lot of stuff or towns that just don't get a lot of this stuff naturally and just see what happens.
Yeah, I mean we've played shows in smaller areas where like even if there's like 20 kids there, all 20 of those people are stoked and they're all moshing the whole set, they're all having a good time. And like those shows stand out more to me than like say we're playing in front of like 300 people that don't give a shit. Like it's just about like the energy in the room, and that's what's always more important to me. And I think that's a lot of these small town areas and stuff, like they don't get a lot of the big shows and stuff that most other places get. So like when they do get to go to a show, even like I said, if there's like 20, 25 people there, if all of those 20 to 25 people are stoked to be at a show, the energy is going to be there. And like that's what I'm here for.
Now that's what I think we're all here for. We all want that type of energy because when we think about the shows that we love to go see, especially the ones at those smaller venues, we remember the ones where everyone was so incessantly into it that you couldn't get out of that energy even if you tried. I still
Yeah.
remember, again, the same venue guys are going to be playing here when, like I said, on July 11th. I saw Kublai Khan play a show there last year just as a headlining set because they were out with Lorna Shore. They had a day off going there towards Chicago, and they said, screw it, we're going to stop here. That show sold out in, I think, like a minute or two. It was
Yeah.
real quick. And then being in the crowd for that, once Kublai Khan went on, everyone went nuts. It was crazy. I ended up stage diving on that one, and I'm not sure if I'll ever do it again because I dove off the stage, and it was like the parting of the Red Sea. Everyone's like, yeah, we're not catching that guy. And I'm like, I'm not that heavy. What the hell? And I landed on my back and just went, ooh, oh, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I
Still
think
got up and kept going,
some
though, but it's just, ugh. Not sure if I can do
yeah.
that again.
Something like 8 years ago or something. I saw Kublai Khan play in a coffee shop in Phoenix. Want to say there was probably around 100 people there. And that show was fucking crazy. And it's like, it was a routing show. I forgot what tour they were on, where they went out of their way to play that. But it shows like that like they went out of their way to play this small little venue for this group of kids, and like everyone there had such a good time. And like I tell stories about that show like to this day, just because like how cool and how like special it was. And seeing them now play to like thousands of people, it's fucking insane.
Oh, it's absolutely insane. It's like now I'm still telling the story about when I got to see him play in front of you at the most, like, you know, a venue that maybe can pack in 300 if they try, or if they maybe go against the fire code too. But that's a story for a different day. But you remember stuff like that. It's just one of the most incredible things that you can be a part of, just given the fact that it is all based off of the energy. And if the energy is, if everyone's all invested in the show, the energy is something you're never going to forget. And that's why, once again, go out and see Mugshot on this tour with Orthodox. But more importantly, if you're in the area, July 11th at XV Arcade in Cudahy, Wisconsin, think the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area, go and see them play live, because we got to go and make this one crazy. Remember, we'll all say dance at your own risk. Let's go nuts. Let's go do
make risk.
let's take risk. You know what? Let me get to those inflatable hammers again, so we can just start whacking people with them just for fun. Every time they whack, you just hear squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. Might have to get like, you know, potentially just like a special one in there, like a Mugshot branded like inflatable hammer, and all of a sudden just throw it up on stage, and you're gonna catch and be like, what the hell is this? Oh yeah, that was from that dude 2 months ago. Boink. Now I got ideas. I just got to get paid for my new job first before I go and actually make that happen.
Fuck yeah.
But good thing it'll happen before the show, though, so I got time. But then again, how long is it going to take for me to get a custom, like, squeaky hammer made? I don't know. We'll find out, though. Be fun, though. Well, all right, Ringo, I got one more question before we wrap this up. It is something I love to ask every single artist I bring on the show, as a way for us as fans to get to know more new music, and for you as a music lover and musician yourself to get more people into the music that you love as well. I limit this to 3 because otherwise we go all day on this. But can you name me 3 bands or artists that you love that you would love to see more people get into right now?
Oh, all right. Let me think about this. All right, right off the top of my head, Skin Ticket from Arizona. Band is fucking unbelievable. They are like, when you listen to them and when you see them live, it feels like you are in hell. Like it is the most like aggressive, like punishing music. And like when they play live and stuff, it is fucking chaos. That band is unbelievable. We had the singer of that band, Josh Mata, feature on our last EP. That band is just unbelievable. Listen to them for sure. Let me think about what other bands.
Yeah, I think we need 2 more.
It's a difficult one.
Oh, there's a good number of people. I think about half the people at this point. I'm like, I got to open up Spotify to see what I'm listening to.
Yeah. I think if this is allowed, I'm gonna say people need to listen to just about any of the bands from Arizona. Arizona has some of the most underrated hardcore and like metalcore bands out right now. Just do yourself a favor, look into Arizona's music scene, because they got some crazy shit going on. And let me look at my Spotify real quick, see what else I'm listening to. Three is difficult.
Well, I mean, when you blanket all Arizona bands, it's going to be difficult to find that third one.
Yeah. This one, they're doing well. Like they're already doing amazing right now. But I'm just going to throw them out there because I think they're a fucking incredible band. Is Provoker.
Ooh.
They make some fucking awesome music, and they had just recently released an album that they like dropped a video game alongside that you can buy on Steam and stuff. And like their visuals and their sound and everything is so consistent, and they have dropped nothing but bangers. That band has been like on constant rotation for me. And I know that they're already pretty popular, but if you don't know them, you need to know them. They're unbelievable.
Those are some good picks. I'm going to have fun like creating the little like snippet video I made for this, because it's going to be like, we're going to have band name, any band from Arizona, band name. So in order to tag bands, I have to like tag like 10 or 12 bands from Arizona and be like, yeah, go this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Just listen to Ringo from Mugshot. If they're from Arizona, go give it a listen.
Yes, absolutely. Arizona, like I said, it's so hot in Arizona. Everyone is just so pissed, and it really comes through. Like, and it's not even just like hardcore. Like, even when it comes to like the softer stuff, like there's a band out there called Commoner, and they play kind of like a rock vibe. I don't want to like say shoegaze, but it's like shoegaze rock, that kind of vibe. And like they're dropping some of the coolest music right now. Um, they're just one of the bands that I want to highlight, but really like dive into Arizona's bands. They're killing it.
I'm gonna have to follow you on that one. I'll dive into Arizona's band. So thank you for the suggestions, Ringo. And I know you got to go into your next one. So I'm going to be able to say thank you for joining us. I'm going to wrap this episode by saying three things. So first things first. Yes, Mugshot is releasing their newest album. Once again, the name of the album is All the Devils Are Here on June 20th, 2025. And they will be going immediately after that on the road with Orthodox, Emerita From Joy. So go and be able to go and get a show. Check that out. If you saw when Ringo was giving those suggestions, if you saw my head turn this way and me typing something, that was literally me buying a ticket live during this episode to that show on July 11th at Extra Arcade in Cudahy, Wisconsin. That's what I was doing, because I do not want to miss out on this, so don't miss out on it. But I'm going to make sure you don't. Go to script from the podcast where it says find Mugshot online. Link symbols for everything are going to be down there for you can follow along with the band, where you can go and see them live, you can go get some merch, you can support them, and of course, listen to them when it comes out. It's all down there. Now, Ringo, it's time for number 2. Whenever I have guests on the podcast, I enjoy the podcast, I tend to make a certain promise as a way to say thank you, I appreciate you taking the time, and I wish to continue to support you in the future. I normally start this out with when, because this is going to happen. We just don't have a day or time, but I literally just bought a ticket for this thing, so I'm going to give you the day or time. On July 11th, 2025, after the show with Orthodox, after you guys play your set, and after I find some crazy way to get that Mugshot inflatable hammer and bring it to the show, I will come and find you. I will come and say hello to you. I may or may not give you the hammer, but the real promise is first round's on me.
Fuck yeah. Appreciate that.
Hell yeah. And now it's time to wrap us up at number 3. Ringo, I cannot end this by saying goodbye. This was a hell of a lot of fun. I made you a promise. I get to see you in 2 months, and then 2 months after that, I get to go do the exact same thing once again at Louder Than Life. So I'll be seeing you soon. Thank you for creating some great music, and I'll see you later.
Right on. Thank you so much.
Well, folks, it's my interview with Ringo from Mugshot. Now it's time for Kevin's final thought, and this is my final thought on this one. First off, this album is absolutely fantastic. For the heavy music scene, the hardcore music scene, we're seeing a lot of great stuff. We saw a lot of great stuff in 2024. I said it. Knocked Loose released a fantastic album. Alpha Wolf, Kublai Khan, Throne, Counterparts released a great EP as well. And there's plenty others that have been releasing great music over the past couple of years. This one from Mugshot, though, falls right in line with it. I said every time and every single song, there was something in there that made us a good song great and a great song fantastic. Like Die in Fear, like right when it opens and you hear that bass riff, adds that funk to it, you're like, oh, I am in. And it just keeps building on from there and there. This is just utterly fantastic. But what I want to talk about for this one, and my final thought is, I love the idea that Ringo has where he was talking about playing that show in Augusta, Georgia, only like 100 people, very small venue, but the energy, the vibe just kicked off on it. And thinking about potentially doing something like that, as a headliner in the future, I really hope they do that. And go to some of these smaller towns. And the reason I hope they really do that is because, just think about it. All American Rejects are doing something like that right now, and they're really taking a hold of it. What happens if, especially in a blossoming hardcore scene, there is a blossoming hardcore band that does it? If Knocked Loose did that, people would lose their absolute goddamn minds. But if Mugshot does it, it could be that thing that propels them into that next great hardcore band. They really could. and I really hope it does. I want to thank Ringo for coming to the podcast today. If you want to follow along with Mugshot, you want to find him online, you want to be able to listen to their brand new album when it comes out, All the Devils Are Here. Go and see him play live with Orthodox, especially I yawned on that one, especially on, now I got a weird twitch in my eye, especially on July 11th when they play in the X-Ray Arcade in Cudahy, Wisconsin. Go to the podcast where it says find Mugshot Online. Links was there for everything for your needs, following them and be able to get into Mugshot today. Please also follow us on the Chord Podcast. Links are up to the podcast below. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hit the subscribe button right down here on YouTube to subscribe to the Chord Podcast channel. Follow us on Facebook or Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe there. Full episodes there every Tuesday and Thursday. Please also be sure to like these episodes and help push in the algorithm. I want to thank Ringo for being on the podcast, and that's going to be from me. Everybody, thank you for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. I'm Kevin, and you guys know every single episode with Big, Healthy, and Hearty. See ya! Yeah!